I'm going to use this comment to kind of add a little bit more to the story. So I guess part two, part 1.5, however you want to say it, that they've been friends with me for 1.5 years here on social media, and they would have never known that I was going through this, and that was very happy presenting. That is actually a very common theme with everyone in my life. There are definitely people who knew. There are some people who witnessed. There are some people who I've confided in over the years. One of my very best friends who has been with me since 2020 was probably the first person to tell me that there was some type of mistreatment going on, and that I had no idea that that would be considered that. That same friend is the person that I told when I was on his laptop pulling up information that he had requested from me over the phone. And then I had noticed like the notes like popped up. I didn't go searching for any of this, but the notes popped up. And at the bottom of one of the notes, it had like said something like for records or something like that. I have like screenshots I took from my phone, but here nor there. And he was documenting my behavior, documenting all the things that I was doing wrong, all the things that I was doing bad, all like just documenting my behavior. I confided in one of my friends. She has all these documents. I actually had asked her to, every single time something would happen in the house, I would send her a text message. She would screenshot it. She would delete it. We would delete the entire conversation. So that way there was no record of us ever having an exchange. And she compiled all this so that way I could use it in the future, which I'm so thankful for. Then there are like my other friends who had no idea that anything was going on because I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to talk about this with my friends. We would talk about everyday problems like, oh, he didn't take out the trash, or, oh, he didn't do this. But, when it came down to like the way that I was made to feel and the things that were said, that was very private, and I kept that very private. There was an instance, however, on a date night in, I want to say October of 2024, where in which that he got very aggressive with me in front of my friends in the car. And that was probably the first time that they witnessed anything that was concerning. And to this day, that is something that they are still just like, I can't believe that happened. So yeah. My family also witnessed a lot of incidents. I can't recall a vacation that we went on as a family where in which that at any given point I was not given the silent treatment. A very notable one is December of 2023. I want to say it's December of 2023 or December of 2022. Talking politics. I had said that we shouldn't talk politics with my brother, and I had my friend with me. She had come with us on this family trip, so she was a neutral third party kind of witnessing all of this. And a altercation kind of broke out where in which that a question was posed to me, which was, do you think that all Republicans are a piece of shit? And I said, well, they're not really proving that they aren't. Want me to lie? I mean, we've kind of seen the trajectory of politics, and over that specific break, which was over Christmas, I didn't get spoken to. Silent treatment was very, very common. Anytime that we had a disagreement, instead of actually having a conversation, I would just get nothing. So I could even start a conversation, I could go and apologize, but I would just get radio silence. This also happened on another trip in Puerto Rico, where in which that, according to things that I have found out later on, is that, he had convinced himself that I was talking to other men, was not. I can put hand on, I wouldn't put my hand on the Bible, that would probably not be on brand, hand on. a court of thorns and roses, hand on a throne of glass. And I can tell you that I have never, ever talked to another man during the duration of my marriage. Ever. It's just not who I am as a person. Not who I ever will be. I have zero problems ending things, moving on, instead of doing all that. So all of this to say roundabout, if you have somebody that you can trust with any type of documentation of behaviors or just making sure that things don't get convoluted and you don't want to forget how things are in the moment, because that was a really big thing too, is that I remember very well how things happen. I can tell you about an instance when I was 16 in high school and the drama that we had in high school verbatim. But I was told very much a lot of the time that the things that events that had transpired or things that had gone down, I was remembering them incorrectly, that's not what was said, that's not what happened, even though there would be witnesses to said behaviors and witnesses to said actions to kind of reinforce what I was saying and reinforce what I was thinking. I was definitely gaslit into thinking that what I was saying and what I was feeling and what I was doing was wrong. And I had definitely convinced myself a few times that like what had actually transpired never actually transpired the way that it did, because I was told that it wasn't. So instead I started documenting, texting things as right after they happened to a friend to screenshot and to save into a folder on her computer. So that way, it was just inaccessible from anything on mine. Encrypted WhatsApp conversations, anything that you can do to feel safe if you need to do something like that. It definitely kind of, the cracks really started to show, I think, when the behavior kind of translated into when we were hanging out with friends, like that incident that happened that October. And I think that that's probably the first time that my friends were actually concerned with things that were going on that I was not being very transparent about. So if you have people that you can trust, please trust them. If you don't, figure out a way that you can, kind of keep your wits about you, especially when you're dealing with somebody like this who is a chronic victim. And stay tuned for part 3.